EastEnders actor Toby-Alexander Smith has cautioned his fans after discovering that scammers have been pretending to be him online. The star, who is known for playing Grey Atkins in the BBC soap, revealed that fraudsters have been contacting members of the public through different social media sites and attempting to get money from them. In a message shared on Instagram, Smith revealed that several fake profiles had been set up using his identity. He encouraged his followers to remain vigilant and avoid responding to anyone claiming to be him. Smith explained that he does not personally have accounts on TikTok or Facebook, meaning any profiles on those platforms claiming to represent him are fake. He also made it clear that he would never privately approach someone to request money, donations, or any form of payment. Fans who receive suspicious messages have been advised not to respond or transfer any money, but instead to report the account and block it. The warning comes shortly after Smith returned to EastEnders, having originally departed the soap in 2022. Grey was eventually arrested following his killing spree and has remained behind bars ever since. Earlier this summer, Smith returned to the role of the dangerous villain after Grey's grandmother, Sheila Atkins, came back to Walford. Grey then manipulated Sheila into providing him with information about his son Jordan Fox, who had been injured after being struck by Ian Beale's car. When Ian was subsequently imprisoned over the incident, Grey saw an opportunity to separate Jordan from his mother. He manipulated events to get Chelsea to visit him in prison before telling Sheila to leave the country with Jordan. However, Sheila's plan eventually fell apart, and she was caught. Elsewhere, Ian and Grey became involved in a tense confrontation inside the prison, during which Ian accidentally stabbed Grey with a makeshift weapon. Grey was subsequently taken to hospital for treatment. In Grey's final scenes, which aired last week, Chelsea confronted him and made it clear that he would never be allowed to see his son again. EastEnders spoilers for next week. Kat faces heartbreak as Denise's condition takes a turn. EastEnders has some emotional moments coming up next week, with several Walford residents facing difficult situations. One particular storyline remains shrouded in mystery and appears to be more important than it first seems. Rumours have also suggested that tragedy could soon strike one Walford family. However, it appears far too soon for Kat Slater to be grieving. So why does she appear so distressed next week? New spoilers indicate that Kat is keeping her feelings to herself, but Alfie Moon soon notices that something is wrong. Alfie becomes concerned after watching footage from their sons Bert and Ernie's school project, where he spots Kat looking upset. It remains unclear whether Kat becomes emotional while appearing in the footage, or whether her reaction comes as she watches it. Whatever the reason, something is clearly weighing heavily on Kat, and she appears to have kept her worries hidden from everyone around her. Alfie is therefore left wondering whether he should confront his wife and find out what has been bothering her. Instead of directly asking Kat about what he has seen, Alfie decides to come up with a secret plan to improve her mood. He appears to share his concerns with other members of the family, who question why he has not spoken to Kat about the upsetting footage. Despite their advice, Alfie chooses not to address the issue directly and continues with his surprise attempt to make Kat feel happier. His efforts appear to pay off, as Kat becomes visibly touched by what her husband has done. However, the question remains over whether she will finally open up to Alfie and reveal what has been troubling her. The mystery comes amid speculation that Kat's daughter Zoe Slater could be heading for a tragic exit. Meanwhile, Denise Fox's loved ones continue searching for a suitable stem cell donor as her health battle takes a worrying turn. As her condition deteriorates, Denise is placed into a medically induced coma. A previously overlooked clue from an ancestry website provides a potential breakthrough when Kim discovers that Denise has a half-brother named Darnell. He agrees to meet Kim, but after learning about Denise's illness, Darnell is overwhelmed and suddenly leaves. Denise eventually shows signs of improvement and is brought out of the coma, but there is further bad news, as her treatment fails to produce the desired results. Determined to help Denise, Jack remains focused on tracking down Darnell. Elsewhere, Penny accepts some support as she and Vinny prepare for the birth of their baby. However, when Harry becomes involved, Penny is left struggling with feelings of guilt. Priya and Jean also take matters into their own hands as they attempt to collect DNA samples from Ravi and Max in order to establish the truth about the paternity. Amy is left heartbroken when Denzel rejects her. Later, she unexpectedly crosses paths with Craig, and the pair agree to arrange a meeting. Meanwhile, Even Suki are devastated when they discover that Ria's mother may be considering taking legal action to gain custody of her daughter. When Ria suffers an injury during Alfie's party, Suki becomes increasingly worried that the incident could damage their chances in the custody battle. She subsequently threatens Kat with legal action. EastEnders sets up new hope for Denise Fox as family finds long-lost relative. Denise Fox's condition remains extremely serious in EastEnders next week, with her relatives desperately searching for a donor before it is too late. Their efforts eventually uncover a long-lost family connection who could potentially provide the stem cell transplant Denise urgently requires. The Fox-Branning family becomes increasingly worried after Denise is placed into a medically induced coma. However, their fears briefly turn into hope when they discover that Denise has a previously unknown half-brother who could be a possible match. Unfortunately, the family may soon face another devastating setback. Darnell, the man discovered by Kim and Jack, is completely stunned when he learns that Denise is not only his half-sister, but is also seriously ill and could die without his assistance. As the pressure surrounding the situation increases, Darnell becomes overwhelmed and panics, raising fears that Denise's potential savior could disappear from her life. The week begins with Denise's health taking a worrying turn. Doctors decide to place her into a coma in an attempt to stabilize her while her chemotherapy treatment continues. At the same time, her loved ones organize a donor event at the community center in the hope that someone will come forward with a suitable match. The family then receives an unexpected breakthrough when a result from the Ancestry website Denise had previously signed up to reveals that she has a half-brother. Kim and Jack quickly begin trying to track down Darnell, knowing that every moment matters if he is able to donate. While Jack takes action himself, Kim eventually succeeds in making contact with Darnell, who agrees to meet her. The revelation leaves Darnell shaken, although he agrees to visit Denise in hospital. However, seeing his seriously ill half-sister in such a fragile state proves too much for him. Darnell becomes overwhelmed by the reality of the situation and suddenly leaves, leaving Denise's family fearing that their possible solution has disappeared. There is at least a small positive development when Denise is eventually brought out of her coma and appears to be recovering. Despite this, doctors remain concerned because her treatment is not producing the results they had hoped for. When Denise learns about Darnell, she gains some reassurance from the possibility that a donor could still be found and that her recovery may have a new chance. EastEnders airs Monday to Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on BBC One, with episodes also available to stream on BBC iPlayer, where new instalments are generally released at 6 a.m. before their television broadcast.